ISUPK.
Give the officer a hand, Most High in Christ. Also, let me get Captain Mahayaman up here for a second. Everyone that you might not know or you should know, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We're out of 1 West Harlem, New York City. And we're right here in Chicago under this man right here, Captain Mahayaman. Give him a hand. Captain Mahayaman is from Chicago, came all the way to New York to be trained by the true men of God to come back and save his people in the town that he loves, and to give the city of Chicago the one thing, the only thing that they need to escape this hell, and that is the love for one another. That's right. That's what we need in this city, man. We have great enemies. The police are our enemies. Right. The drugs, the violence, even the water itself is trying to kill you. The air is trying to kill you. And the one thing we have as a steady and sure defense against death is one another. That's all we have, is one another. In the Israelite School of UPK, we're out here today to be a living example to you who are in suffering. We've suffered just like you. We come from where you come from. We've suffered and died and been to prison like you. And then one day, we found one another. One day we found each other, and in finding each other, we found love. And in finding love, we finally conquered the hate of our enemy. In finding love for one another, now we had a weapon against all of them that hate us. And they all hate us. Everything you see, every channel on TV, every website, every blog, everything hates the black and Hispanic man. And the knowledge of that will make you love one another. Because what else do you have? If your back is against the wall, if you're hungry, if you're thirsty, what else do you have than another brother who's hungry, another brother who's thirsty, who's willing to share with you, who's willing to give the little bit he has to you? The Israelite School of UPK, we know, give me the scripture I asked for about the greatest of all commandments. Read, please.
Matthew chapter 22, verse 38. This is the first and great commandment.
The Christian church, the Muslim mosque, the police, the politicians, they hate when they see a righteous black man, a righteous Hispanic man, a righteous North American Indian, because in righteousness, we will learn how to treat each other. If we obeyed the commandments of God, we would learn how to dwell with each other in peace and in harmony. If we keep the commandments of God, we'll change the ghetto everywhere. We'll change the projects if we keep the commandments of God. And here are the greatest commandments. Read.
Verse 39. And the second,
first again.
This is the first and great commandment.
Meaning out of all of the commandments, this is the big boy. This is the biggest one. This is the first one. Go ahead.
Verse 39, and the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt what?
Thou shalt love.
First one, love the Lord thy God.
This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt what?
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt what?
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
That's the greatest commandment, man. A lot of people run from the law of God because you want to eat pork, you want to eat shrimp, you want to do drugs and sell drugs and get high. And I get it, you're full of lust. You're selfish. But while you try to run away from God's commandments, you don't understand what you're actually running away from. If you run away from the commandments, you're also running away from love thy brother as thyself. That's a commandment. That's in the law. So if you don't want the law, if you don't want structure in your life, you actually want brothers to hate each other, because there is a law that says we must love each other, and it is the greatest commandment. There is nothing more beautiful in the world than brothers that love each other. It is the most excellent thing, the greatest creation from the Lord our God, is brothers loving each other, and it is a law to do it. It's a commandment from heaven to do it. Read.
Verse 40. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Keep going.
41. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, what think ye of Christ?
Meaning this, Christ went before the religious leaders, and he began to cut them about their lack of understanding in the law. They didn't understand that brothers needed to love each other. They didn't understand that you need to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul. They rejected the commandments for their lust. But you don't see what you're actually rejecting. We come out here in Chicago, we go all over the globe, and in the UK, in Trinidad, London, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, seeking something, but not seeking what your preacher is looking for. Your preacher is looking for money. Your politicians are looking for votes. We go all over the globe looking for the poor, for the sick, for the brokenhearted. And we found them right here.
That's right.
For the people suffering, for the people dying, for the people that ache. Give me Matthew 5:1. For the people that ache for righteousness, that ache for justice. You thought your whole life you were under a curse. You were right. Here's the good news. That curse ends when you start loving your brother. That's how you break it. You break that curse by caring more about that poor sister who was molested than you care about your own sexual lust. That's how you break this curse, man. By caring more about that poor brother who's been locked up in jail since he was 10 years old than you care about your own greed. That's how you break this curse. Read.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 1. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set,
this is written in red, which means Jesus Christ, our King, whose true name is Yahushai Mashiach, the King of Israel. This is what he said when he went into a tall mountain and spoke to a great number of people. Go ahead.
And when he was set, his disciples came unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, blessed are the poor.
Read that again.
Blessed are the poor.
Read it again.
Blessed are the poor.
You see how upside down that is for this world? This world thinks that the rich are blessed. They think that white people are blessed. They think politicians and reverends with big fancy cars and private jets. This world thinks that they're blessed. Jesus Christ said, blessed are the poor. If you grew up poor in Chicago, in those projects, in that prison, God sent Jesus Christ to die for you. For you. He saw you in the prison. He saw you in the homeless shelter. He saw you there when you thought no one saw you. When you thought no one would care about your tears or your hunger or your pain. God saw you the whole time and sent his son to save you. Read.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Theirs is what?
Theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
And in essence, here's the gospel, man. Blacks and Hispanics, North American Indians, sitting on a reservation dying. The Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Guatemalans, the Haitians, all of the people of South and Central America and the so-called Negro right here in Chicago. You're the chosen people of God. You're the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And Jesus Christ died for you to get the kingdom of heaven. Heaven is where is the place that blacks and Hispanics finally get to rule. Finally get to be in charge. Finally get to be rich and watch our oppressors suffer for what they've done. That's why we gave up murdering people. That's why we gave up selling drugs. That's why we gave up being evil and wicked to one another, because we knew the reward that we had to come. And now we're out here in Chicago to let you know about that reward. I'll bring up Captain Mawakwa to do the announcement right now so you can find our schools in your city. Find our websites. Find a brother to get in contact with, man, when you can't take care of your children, when you can't feed your kids. If your sister is battling with whether or not you should have an abortion or not, you call these brothers. If you're getting arrested and you don't have a lawyer, you call these brothers. We're out here to be an example to you. And then after that, we'll expect you to do what we do. With that said, we'll pass the camp over to Captain Mawakwa.
Give General Mahayaman a powerful hand. We are the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We got classes Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. at 938 East 79th Street. If you want to, we got brothers got flyers just in case you may forget. The number is on the flyer. Get in contact with us ASAP. We taking over the city with this truth. With that, that's our time, Chicago. Shalom.